for the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation Podcast. With 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years, the Games Make Blind. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description underneath Ryan's desk.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/popculturists. We can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. But if you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, other assorted shit with our logos on it. We're back, Max. We're back. I know, everyone was like, where are you? But actually, no one said shit. But, yeah, you know, we missed...
Pad's like, where the fuck are you?
Actually, yeah, it's true. Pad was like, the fuck? And I think one other person went, hey. But, yeah, so I was out of commission last week after my, days in Sydney and coming back. I just had, the most banaliest, migraine in all of existence, and I was just out of commission. I was dead. I spent my entire day either sleeping or vomiting, and that pretty much is how I existed for about 9 hours. And then I finally was able to put some food in me and keep it there. Thankfully, the lovely Phoebe did come over and gift me some what are they called? Some pills, some medication that she crammed down my throat hole. I think they were called angina or something, or mangina. One of the two. One of the things is stop being such a puss about it. And that allowed me to not have my head cave in, and I was able to kick in a gear. But I was very much not in any way capable of doing a show. I was dead. Absolutely dead. How are you? How are you last week, Max? Were you fine?
I don't even remember last week.
Yeah.
What did I do last week? Clearly nothing that important, because I don't remember it.
No.
I was fine. I was pretty tired that night.
Yeah, worked out well.
When you message me, you're like, hey, I'm not feeling great. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the show. I'm like, cool. I totally haven't done a news doc or anything. So, let me know by 7 if you want me to do one.
And I fell asleep again, so I think you went, I don't have to do one.
And then Ali's like, are you recording tonight? I'm like, it's past 7. That motherfucker's not getting anything out of me.
Motherfucker's dead, yeah.
So, that was good. And then throughout the week, I'm like, it's fucking weird. So I came and visited you because, it's the only time we catch up.
Yeah, because it is one of those things. We're the only time, the same as we talked about back in the day with Josh, that the only time we really catch up is when we do the show. So to go, well, how do we talk about shit? We're in a group chat with a bunch of other people. So then we message each other nonsense throughout the days, but it's just not the same. It's not face to face, and it's different face to face now because as we'll point out, So I've repurposed the desk into a stand up desk so I can do some mean squats as I'm working, seeing now that I work from home, and it's just cool. So I can get all my all my energies out. I did the back.
Creative juices flowing.
Was it, sorry?
Creative juices flowing.
Actually, no, that's legitimately a big part of it. I thought getting up, moving around, kind of I can ponder and do a bit of this, do a bit of that, play some energy, music, get the energy, do some white boy dancing during my workday, all those little things. And it's actually been really effective. It's been a really cool idea. It weirdly does deliver a different energy. So last night I recorded some Let's Play content because we haven't done that in forever. But when the embargo for it drops, you'll see it here on the YouTubes. And I was like, I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to do it standing. And it does. It sits differently. It feels differently. There is a different energy because you're not...
Hang on. Just before you go off on this tangent, standing sits differently, does it?
Yeah, it sits differently in here. In your heart, Max.
All right. I just wanted to make sure I was following your train of thought.
Yeah, there is no constant train of thought. I'm riddled up this evening. I thought, I'm a bit tired. I'm going to see how this kicks in a gear. Popped it in my throat hole. about a couple hours ago, so I should be pretty tight. But
Had a 15-minute power nap in the kids' bed while I was reading her books.
Smart.
That's yeah.
The only downside, though, so those that are listening, like because I've redone the back wall with the foam squares, like if you look in the video, because it now matches the layout of the stream, it kind of like looks like I'm weirdly green screened in, and like Max is clearly sitting in like his little side room, which you've got your cool background, but we're gonna have to have some fun with it, I think.
I'm going to paint a big-ass fucking mural behind me.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Just like super anime art, like just all up on the wall.
No, it's just gonna be black with red letters that says "You died."
Oh, like dude. All right, cool.
Immensely lower the value of the house.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a murder happened here. It's like, no, I just really like Dark Souls. But yeah, what else? Anything else happened during the week, Max? Because obviously I went to Sydney.
During this week?
Yeah, this week, last week.
No, not much.
Yeah.
Not much. Same old.
Yeah, nice. So I went to Sydney for my first week in the new job. So I was hanging out in Chatswood. And I took the PS5. We were discussing like, oh, should I take it? So I literally went and bought a bag for it, took it with me. And it was very hysterical because it was my entire carry-on. The entire weight limit of like 7 kilos, it came to like 6 kilos and 94 grams. It was just PlayStation. So like I couldn't have carried anything else on the plane with me. And it was very funny. Like when I went through like the security, they're like, what's this? Like it's a PlayStation 5. What's that? Well, that's a console so I can play games. I work in games and I'm working in Sydney for a couple of days and I'm just shut up. I had to like take it out and explain. And some security guy walks over and goes, yeah, it's PlayStation. I went, oh, okay, cool. And they just let me go through, which was fun. But yeah, because I was like, look, like all laptops and stuff out. I'm like, it's just a fucking console. Like, what are we going to do? But it was cool. Got to play some like Everdream Valley. After a big day of doing work, I was just sat in the hotel and did some farming, which was cool because Everdream Valley's mental good. I played some WWE while I was away as well. Well, I was doing some gas station simulator before I started my work. All those things. Yeah. So it was 100% the right idea. Like those days in Sydney, like new job, new location, there's a whole bunch of new, and like my brain was like dying. So like be able to come back to the hotel and not have to like watch shitty TV, but like actually use the thing that I use to relax and to chill out and like what is good for my mental health. I was like, oh, this was totally the greatest idea I've ever had. So like, even though it was a hassle and like, it was kind of like, yeah, look, this was the right decision. And I'm very, very happy that I did. But so speaking of playing games though, like there are like 2 games that I'm playing right now that I can't talk about. I'm sure if you followed me on shit, I probably should silence my PlayStation, but this is there. What have you been playing, Max?
Bit more Diablo.
I was expecting such a specific answer from you.
So, been playing a bit more Diablo. I think I'm done with it until the seasonal content starts.
All right. So have you you've done it with a couple characters now, yeah?
I've made like 3 separate characters. I've hit endgame stuff. I think I'm done. with that. A little bit more Destiny. Still grinding through the seasonal content. It's fine. This has been by far the weakest expansion in a long time. Yeah, or just expansion in general in a long time.
So because you know how I was like got all excited and I installed it on the PlayStation. Like, oh, maybe I'll play some Destiny. Yeah, I deleted it.
Yeah, didn't you say you had a group of friends that you were gonna play with?
Yeah, I thought about it, and then I was like, so I did, because like I really admittedly I just wanted the PlayStation skins, and then it was very much a circumstance of, oh, they cost me a lot of money. It's fine, I can hold out.
Back on the DMZ again.
Oh, great! Because it's a new season.
New season, so things are very, very different. So half the city's been wiped out by the sandstorm that came in the latter half of last season.
Yeah.
Which is cool. They've, once again, as they've done every season, they've changed all the spawn locations.
So you can't do your little hunting anymore?
No, once we know where all the spawns are, we can. But like,
You're
that's
gross, by the way.
but one of the biggest changes they made last season, where they released these special armored carriers. So there was like the medic vest, which would allow you to revive your teammates faster, or there was the comms vest that would buff UAVs and stuff like that. Well, to get them now, you have to do certain missions within the game to unlock the crafting recipe for them, and they're all tied to beating the bosses inside the DMZ game, which is cool. That's fine. So we've done a few of those. They've changed the way you unlock your insured weapon slots now. So instead of it being get to rank 5 of this mission base, it's now to get your first one. It was extract a weapon from an enemy player and take out 2 other items.
Oh, that's easy.
And to get
I can achieve that.
Super easy. We did it on the first night. To get the second, to get your second insured slot, it was extract 10 weapons, 8 gold skulls, 10 gold bars, and
Wait,
6
skulls?
GPUs. Yeah. So gold skulls drop from the bosses. So they're very easy to get. Like, they're very easy to get.
Says you.
The GPUs are still rare as fuck.
Okay.
That's the one thing that's holding me back. I found half of what I need. But that's because I kept giving the ones that I had found to one of our friends because he was further along. So I'm just like, well, there's no point both of us fighting over it. I'll just give you all the shit that you need.
Yeah, and then once you've hit your limit, you'll load me up. Yeah.
So that's been fun. It's still the same. I'm just grinding through the battle pass with all that stuff. But obviously the big game that I've been playing this week is Final Fantasy 16. So a huge shout out to the team at Square Enix and Bandai Namco Australia for providing me a copy of the game. Many thanks. Christmas in July even came early for me this year.
I think you came early this season too. I remember because you're like, is it coming? Is it coming? I'm like, oh man. Like we've known it's been out there for a while because we've got mates that have been playing it like pre-embargo. We weren't lucky enough to make the cut, so you're like, I know you was like itching. It's worse when you know people that are playing, and like you could go ask them questions, and like we kind of were, but it was just like it's just when it's like so close and you can like touch it, but you can't quite.
This may be my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Is that like recency bias though?
No, I don't think so. So. This is Final Fantasy 16, so it follows the story of Clive, who's essentially on a kind of a revenge quest to begin with, and then it takes a little bit of a turn. But I won't go into it too much because it's very spoiler.
Well, I don't care, but I'm sure someone in the chat does.
This new Final Fantasy entry has moved across from the old school turn-based system into the more recent, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Final Fantasy 15, that action RPG. The combat designer for this game did Devil May Cry. Oh. So if you've played Devil May Cry, combat is very similar to that, which is awesome. So yeah, you play as Clive. Clive is a dominant in the
Final
game.
Fantasy name. It's not named like Cloud or Midas or Boopity Bob or whatever the name is.
Cool. So Final Fantasy for the longest time has had a running. There's a running set of character names that are in every single Final Fantasy game. One of them being Sid, and there is once again a Sid in this game. But it's slightly different. Sid is his nickname.
Oh, okay. So you're playing Sid this time.
His full name is Sidolphus, and it's the fucking greatest thing I've ever heard.
Sidolphus. See, that's a Final Fantasy name. Here I am being like, oh, man, yeah, that's a Final Fantasy name. Thank you for Sidolphus.
So, yeah. I'm finding the story very compelling at the moment. I'm about, according to the PlayStation's, this is how far through the game you are. I'm sitting at about 50-ish, 55%.
Nice.
I've been loving my time with it so far. I'm finding it fairly difficult to put down once I start playing. The story is pulling me through very nicely. The first half of the game is very cutscene heavy. It does kind of exposition dump on you a fair bit because it's got a fair bit to fill you in on as to what's going on. There's a lot of if you've seen reviews, a lot of the reviews are giving it that Game of Thrones vibe, which I can totally
which
see.
is
There's a
admittedly
lot of,
kind of pulling me in.
there is a lot of that house politics. Our family's better than your family. Our part of the world's better than your part of the world.
Yeah, good old like old timey fantasy racism.
And like, and the big issue behind this is it's not called the blight. I'm just going to use the blight. I can't think of the actual term they use. But half of the land is
probably the boobity bop or whatever I made it before.
Part of the land is dying.
Oh no.
So despite the fact that there have been peace treaties for X amount of years, they're like, well, half our fucking land's gone. And all our people are dying. So guess what? You guys are fucked.
Mm.
We're going to invade you. We're going to break the treaties. We're going to invade you. So each of the realms in the world have their own dominant, which are the people that can control the power of the icons, which you've seen in the trailers. They're the big Final Fantasy summons.
The kaijus?
Essentially.
Yeah.
But what seems really dickish, and I made this comment pretty early on when I started playing this game, when the armies go to war, it's the regular people who are going to war.
That's every war ever, Max.
Yeah, no, I get that. And then it doesn't matter of the normal people who win the war, as long as their dominant wins or loses. That's all that matters. So like, just fucking send your champions in first. Don't be a dick. Don't like let half your people die, and then rock up for 10 seconds, but we win.
I'm glad that you've just worked out how like war.
Oh no, like
and works.
Like I know how it works. It just seems super scummy. Still,
I love how like only now that it's in Final Fantasy, I care. This is wrong. And like that's System of a Down song. Like, why do they always send the poor? I don't know what it meant until right now.
Everyone knows the song lyric when the rich rage wants the poor who don't. Like everyone knows that. It's just everyone like it's blatantly obvious here because everyone comments on it. Like there's one part very early on where one of the dominants is like, I need to save my people. Like my people are needlessly dying. He rocks up for 10 seconds and fucks off again. He's like, I'm done.
I did my part. Yeah, like he retweeted something and was like, my people, and then fucked off.
Yeah. The combat's awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've been a huge Devil May Cry fan for a very long time. So having a combat style very similar to that has been absolutely fantastic. As much as I liked the old turn-based style of gameplay that Final Fantasy has been known for, I think this is a change in the right direction because it's very antiquated now. It's a very old school style of, and like that style of gameplay still exists in the likes of like Octopath Traveler and games like that. Bravely Default, all of those things, they still exist and still have a place. But I think they also hit the beats of that old pixelated 2D style gameplay where it lends itself.
Yeah, like 3D doesn't really work for turn-based because even like I guess it's kind of why it really worked in like South Park as an example because they're using like it's that 2D plane, like you can plan your squares and whatever. Yeah. I guess the only like even then. Like Persona did it, like Persona 5 did it, but because you're not actively moving in the battle.
Yeah, but Persona still has that 2D battle screen. Yeah. So yeah, that's been fantastic. The skill tree leaves something to be desired. It's very basic. Each time you unlock a new section of the skill tree, there's essentially 4 or 5 skills to learn, and that's it. Oh. So. At the moment, I find myself reusing the same skills over and over and over again. Okay. Mainly because they're like the strongest and the most useful, I find. But yeah, I'm digging it. I don't want to dive too deep into it because it is quite fresh still, and a lot of the stuff that I want to talk about is super duper spoiler heavy.
Well, the plan of attack is for you to dive into a spoilery discussion with the likes of Paul James from Player 2 and Joel Gralton from Anagame. We have no date, but I assume it's the second you finish, they'll start chatting.
Yeah, hopefully. So I'm working my way through that at the moment. Mm-hmm. I am, for the most part, golden pathing at the moment. I have done a few of the side quests. like in old Final Fantasy games, you can upgrade your gear and equipment. So there are side quests to essentially better your blacksmith in your hideout, so you can upgrade your stuff to higher tiers.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing those, but for the main part, I am just very much golden pathing to get through the story. I do know there is a new game plus mode. So that's when I'll probably hit a lot of this side content and wrap up, because I think I might go for the plat.
Well, I know that friend of the show, Kieran Verbruge, over at Press Start, he I always love saying their name, super weird. I know they've just recently got the plat, and they said it was a bit of a run, but you know, you're keen.
I'm very much enjoying my time with it. So,
is this the Final Fantasy that gets Betson?
No.
Ah, dang it.
I still don't think so. Like, I mean, you could slap it on story mode. For difficulty wise, you can slap on they've got essentially accessibility accessories. So one is like an auto dodge and one is like an auto potion. But like, it is a more mature-ish story.
Okay.
Like, you're not following a group of teenagers who are out to save the world for some reason.
Cool. I am sick of that.
But I still think it's not quite there yet to bring you in.
Drats. How out of 10 like weeby anime is it?
Oh, I wouldn't say it's weeby anime.
That's good.
At all, really.
Oh, it's even better.
It's very like, I think I've described it a few times as like it's the Pacific Rim of Final Fantasy games.
Yeah. That's a weird reach.
Pacific Rim was trash.
Like Pacific Rim and Game of Thrones. That's a really fucking weird combo.
It's the Pacific Rim of Thrones.
Yeah, that sounds like a sex thing. It's cool.
Yeah.
But you're rating it so far. Obviously, you're getting a good kick out of it.
I'm really enjoying it. The boss fights have been, each time they've kind of one up themselves. It's been really good.
Nice, very nice. Well, yeah. So, like myself, aside from the two games that I can't talk about at the moment, I have been jumping into Rogue Legacy 2. So that came out this week on PlayStation Plus.
I dived into that a little bit today.
Dude, it's good. Like, I loved Rogue Legacy 1 anyway because it was great. But, like, the second one, like, it just makes it even better. So, like, the animations are better. Like, the design is better. Like, it was pretty simple in the original, but they've kind of gone a bit more cartoony compared to the more, like, pixelated look of the original. Same principle, you know, you just run into a castle and see how far you can get, and then if you die, you bring your loot and you build yourself a little castle and you do it again. So, like, they really kind of went the whole idea of, like, it ain't broke, don't fix it. But let's just make it better. Let's make it look better. Let's make it run better. Let's make it feel better. I'm loving it. And, like, mind you, I don't really get real far in the castle every time because I'm shit. But, like, I've discovered, like, the Ranger class, which is a ton of fun for me. I just get pa-ting. But then, you know, as I've only really just started it, like, all my characters, all my heirs are still, like, learning. Like, I'm still learning the different hereditary traits. Like, one of my heirs had synesthesia, so when they see sounds as colors. So, like, as I'm running around, I get this, like, trail of color, and I'm stabbing dudes, and, like, color goes everywhere. And then one character had IBS, so occasionally he would just fart. That was awesome. That was probably one of my favorite ones. There was one you could only, like, damage someone on critical hits, and at that point I wasn't quite know how to do it, so I walk in, go dun, 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 and someone just kicked my shit in. It's fun, man, and then, like, building up that castle and kind of, like, adding, you know, bumping up my health, adding more classes, kind of just sort of building it up is really fun. And it's like, what I love about it, it's one of the biggest problems that I had with, say, Returnal, was that every time you died, it didn't feel like you gained anything. Like, it felt completely bleh. Where playing the likes of Hades or the likes of Rogue Legacy 2, like, just going in and, like, giving it a red hot go, and even if I fucking die, because I will, the money comes with me. All the item, like, you know, all, like, the purchasable things come with me. So I never feel like I'm losing. It's like, oh, cool, I can just go a little bit more further next time.
Yeah, so you don't get punished until you re-enter the castle.
Yeah, which I love.
You don't get punished for dying. You get punished for re-entering.
Yeah, and, like,
that's when all your money disappears.
Like, that simple switch have been like, yeah, your punishment comes when you start your run again. Brilliant. And it's that little thing that will get me every time, right? Because I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do another one. Oh, I've got like X amount of cash left. What am I going to do? Oh, it's not enough to buy anything. I'm going to have to forfeit it, right? And like that to me is what's exciting. And I'm really getting a kick out of that. And it's one of those ones I can go in and do a couple runs and then bugger off. But yeah, actually, let me have a quick look at my app. Can't talk about you. A bit more. Street Fighter. So, jumped a bit more into Street Fighter 6 last week, or during this week, and haven't touched the campaign or anything yet, but just a lot of verses. So, myself, Craig, and Ange, we were in the lounge, and we were just like, whoever loses has to pass the controller, and it was fun. Like, DJ is still the best, but that big gladiator bird that like with helmet hair that takes off the helmet, and it's the best helmet hair in the world. She's brilliant. Love her too. Ryu, I've spent it like they're probably my 3. Getting better at it. Except my son's like, what's this game? I'm like, it's Street Fighter. It's a punching game, a fighting game. He's like, can we play it? I'm like, sure. And then he proceeds to like do what kids do. And like, I was a wang and I told him all the controls. And because he's like 6, his brain's a sponge. He's like, all right, cool. There's a block button. Sick. Block. I'm like, boom, 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 like, blasting, and the second that I stop, he goes, unblock, puh! And like he worked out the button that is like that super color splat special, wrecks me every time. Like he's a shit, and like there's a little bit of me kind of going easy, and then even then I'm like, I'm gonna pull those reins in. I'm gonna show this, and then he still kicked my shit in anyway. But it's really good. It's so tight. Like those, we're playing with the modern controls, like not the classics, because I'm not a moron. But like the modern controls are great for someone that's like doesn't have a history with Street Fighter. Like my history's always been Tekken, and even then it's just Eddie. And I like Paul a lot in Tekken. But yeah, so it's been really cool to kind of come in, and like the design aesthetic's really cool. Like when it comes to the when you enter the versus mode, like there's that music going, and they're all like making these cool entries. It's very wrestling actually, and the music's popping, and like there's a good energy. It's really good. It's really good. Like, I want to touch the campaign, but I also don't, because I was going to probably kick my shit in. Let's plunk it down easy, I guess. But, like, it's a really, really good game. Mute Katsunasi. So, are you ready for the big leagues like Johnny Hong? I don't know what that is, but no, because I suck ass at that game. Like I said, if I'm getting my shit kicked in by a 6-year-old, I ain't ready to do none of that stuff. Youth and Reflexes says, Kumquat, I can't win a fighting game unless my opponent is well over 80. Even then, it's close. Yeah, I have to rely on my opponent being dead. That works in my favor. But I think that's everything. So let's jump into the news, Max. Now, I know... So this is the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Now, the first piece of news, Max, I know it's you just the PlayStation Plus extras. We're going to skip that. Let's go straight to the big one. Because, like, I know that I put it in the title. Let's not bury the lead. Let's get into it. The console wars have been brewing. The FTC has, and the Microsoft acquisition, there's been some court hearings over the last couple of days. And it's a lot of it's hidden. A lot of it's shh. But there has been some juicies that's coming out.
Yeah, so one consistent theme throughout the entire Activision Blizzard buyout saga has been how both Sony and Microsoft have utterly dismantled their own businesses in the attempt to convince regulators to get their own way.
Yeah.
The latest effort comes courtesy of the US Federal Trade Commission's ongoing court case, where the trillion-dollar tech Microsoft has once again attempted to paint itself as the underdog in an effort to get its $69 billion buyout through. Quote, Xbox's console has consistently ranked third of 3 behind PlayStation in sales, the Redmond firm pointed out, parading the fact that it has just a 16% market share. Quote, Xbox has lost the console wars and its rivals are positioned to continue to dominate, including by leveraging exclusive content. Xbox has consistently ranked third in consoles behind PlayStation and Nintendo. While there is no arguing with Microsoft's comment about Xbox trailing behind PlayStation and Nintendo in hardware sales, these are the facts. However, it's hard to take a company's underdog act at face value when it's only occurring as part of an attempt to close a $69 billion buyout, an acquisition so unthinkably large that the Redmond firm is the only one of a handful of companies on the planet with pockets deep enough to fund that purchase.
Yeah.
As part of the same legal proceedings, as it attempts to temporarily block the deal, these comments date all the way back to April and are largely redacted. According to Jim Ryan, traditional game development processes would be interrupted due to its inability to, quote, share confidential details with Activision Blizzard about its next console in development, end quote. But here's the kicker. Microsoft already owns Minecraft, and while a lot of documentation is redacted, Ryan also expressed concerns about the volume of information its rival is able to extract from that. He further clarified that any details about new hardware is, quote, immensely sensitive, unquote, end quote, underlining his point about the kind of risks involved here. However, first-party team San Diego Studio also releases MLB The Show on multiple systems now. In theory, then, Xbox also finds itself in a position where the nature of its next system could end up being shared with a direct competitor. Of course, there is a difference in scale here. Activision Blizzard is the biggest publisher on the planet, after all. Elsewhere, Ryan also added that should the acquisition go through, he believes franchises like Call of Duty will have less incentive to take advantage of unique hardware features like the DualSense controller. Quote, I believe that Microsoft's incentives, their primary incentive at post-acquisition would be to optimize its overall Xbox business, not the business of Activision, end quote.
Yeah. So look, this is interesting, right? So apparently Sony didn't even show up, by the way. No representatives from PlayStation at this court hearing. Just like Phil Spencer up on a stage being grilled by the FTC. And
Jim Ryan zoomed it in.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Everyone else rocked up in person, I guess. But like, it's very interesting. Like, I didn't even know these were going ahead until my Twitter just started exploding with all these things. I'm like, this is fascinating. And I'm once again coming out of it weirdly perplexed for both sides. I'm like, you're both fucking idiots. Like, it's interesting because, like, especially with the Minecraft one, because obviously, you know, I was one of the same thing. I'm like, why is there no PS5 version of this game? There's not even really a Series X version. There's like a standard version kind of bumped up a little bit. But like, why is there no next-gen version of Minecraft? Especially knowing that, you know, Minecraft and Mojang specifically has such a good working relationship across all platforms. And it's very interesting that this is the case, because when you started reading that, my brain went to, yeah, what about MLB The Show? Like, you know, Sony Santa Monica, like my understanding is they almost literally have a wall down the middle of the building. Pardon me, especially when they're working on, you know, pre-launch Xbox, like with Series S and X. And like, it's like the twain shall not meet, you know what I mean? So it's very interesting, like that is a thing, but like Sony wouldn't do the other way, which kind of makes me go, what the fuck is up with that? Right? Like, you're happy to take that in, like presumably the Xbox dev kit's in, but you're not willing to commit to the same thing. Like, all it does is kind of fuel the overhaul hypocrisy of all of this, right? And like, the one thing that caught my interest, and it's I've done my very best to not engage in this nonsense on Twitter, right? Because it's kind of just going to be an absolute dumpster fire. But there was one that went out there this morning that caught my interest. And it said that, I'll read the tweets. This was from Rebs Gaming at Mr_Rebs_. So Phil Spencer revealed that Sony regularly pays competitors to skip Xbox and Microsoft, felt it needed to own Bethesda to compete. Quote, when we acquired ZeniMax, one of the impetus for that is that Sony had done a deal for Deathloop and Ghostwire, ellipses, to pay Bethesda to not ship those games on Xbox. So discussion about Starfield, when we heard that Starfield was potentially also going to end up skipping Xbox, we can't be in a position as a third place console where we fall further behind on our content ownership. So we had to secure content to remain viable in the business. This is ass backwards, as I said. Like, the whole idea of like, oh, we didn't have it, so we're going to buy it so no one else can ever have it again. Like, because this is one of the things. The issue that I've always had with this acquisition as a whole is, yes, Sony has exclusives, no doubt. But like, they don't buy the whole cow. They just pay for exclusivity on the milk. I know it's a total misuse of that expression, but that's the idea. It's rather than going, well, I'm going to buy the farm so that no one else can ever have milk from here or the cows at all. It's just they're just buying one delivery, right? And like, to me, that's always should be the way it's done, right? Xbox have done it before. They did it with Tomb Raider, with Rise of the Tomb Raider, right? So it's not as if it's a new practice for them, but like when Microsoft's entire business model in every studio they've ever had is to buy someone else's IP and make it their own. Like they don't have any legitimately successful IP that they have created in-house. I might be missing one. I'm fully aware. But you think about it, Halo was built by Bungie, bought by Microsoft once it already been established. Forza, the IP might be owned, but like the teams that made it, Playground, only bought in the last couple years. Gears of War, made by, Gearbox and Epic, back in the day, then bought to Microsoft, right? There is no in-house. I guess Fable. But even then, I'm pretty sure that, it's been on Xbox, but they didn't own the team. You know what I mean? And then if you think about Rare, right? They bought Rare. We like what Rare do is bring it in-house. Rare hasn't done dick, apart from Sea of Thieves, which is, fine. Nothing of major consequence, right? So the fear here of, oh, man, we can't compete, so let's buy out the competition No, you get better. What you do is if you're losing in the market, if you're third, the answer isn't buy more shit because you'll just own more shit and still be third. Do better, be better, get better. That is the answer. Now, saying that though, Sony aren't doing much better either. Yes, they've got a lot of great in-house from the ground up, PlayStation built and owned IP, right? Totally true. When they first started, they didn't. Crash Bandicoot, one of their big IPs. That Naughty Dog had made that before they were purchased, right? So even though it's iconography for the PlayStation franchise, of the PlayStation brand, wasn't theirs. But since then, that was their first generation of console, might I add. Since then, PlayStation have gone out of their way to create new and important IP themselves. So when you look over here and then Microsoft and Xbox are, let's see, Xbox One, 360, original 360, One S, 4 generations in, and they still don't have their own foundation IP that they have made in-house. That's not a problem about the competitors. That's a problem about you and your business management and your ability to make functionally impressive games. Even those internal documents X amount of years ago when they're like, "The Last of Us Part 2, they're like, man, there's no way we could even come close to this. Then find a way. Do better. Be better. I'm ranting. What's your thoughts, Max?
You're not wrong. So a few of the other tidbits that came out were the Indiana Jones game was also planned to be multi-platform until Microsoft acquired the studio.
Oh no, they just did exactly what PlayStation did.
Redfall was also going to be multi-platform.
Don't worry about it.
He was point blank asked yesterday, is Elder Scrolls 6 coming to is it coming everywhere? He said that his quote was that game is so far down the line, at least 5 years, I don't even know what consoles are going to be at that point.
And look, I'm just going to put this out there as well. The FTC are asking the dumbest fucking questions. They're trying to trap them, and they clearly have no fucking idea what they're talking about. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And even so much the judge is shut the fuck up. And looking at, reading what's being said, I would be in the same boat. You're not helping. You're hurting your own arguments, you morons.
Yeah. It's really hard to, it's clear that they don't know what they're talking about. And I have a feeling that this is actually going to hurt their case against Microsoft. I have a feeling that it's going to go through. It's just one of those things. It'll depend on what the ruling is and how hard they get hit with those multi-gear deals of exclusivity. But it also came out that the CMA's big thing was, oh, they're going to have a monopoly on cloud gaming. The stats that came out in court over the last couple of days was that no one fucking uses the cloud gaming for
Yeah, that was
like
pretty
no one,
brutal, actually.
no one fucking uses it.
Like xCloud, yeah, but like it's one of those things. Like now they don't, and like obviously, you know, PlayStation had like they have PS Now, which is in the PlayStation isn't even available everywhere, right? So PlayStation are like not even doing anything in the cloud space anyway, right? Yeah. But like one of the things I thought was interesting, pardon me, and I might be paraphrasing because yeah, obviously cloud gaming not even available here in Australia. Like what's interesting with it, like, yeah, in order for us to like have the, you know, Call of Duty come to everything, like the Switch can't do it. I did kind of get a chuckle out of that. The sense of the conversation was, yeah, like the disparity is going to be so insane. So like we're trying to like, you know, if we make the deal to have it be the same on everything, well, it's bold strategy, Cotton, because it's not going to work. It's interesting. Like as we said, like we've been talking about this for like what feels like forever. And I still don't think we're any further along in having any sort of resolution. And I still argue, and as I ranted before, that this is not a good deal. Like it's a great deal for Microsoft. It's a great deal for Activision Blizzard, no doubt.
Would you just to before you get on your train of thought, would you find this deal less egregious if the Xbox Series X was their last console? As in if they were that's it. They get out of the hardware market and they're just a software service company.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that because then they would become the world's biggest publisher. That's fine. Like, and that's the difference. Like, if you know, because their entire thing is like, oh, we couldn't catch up, so we're just going to buy those that can. Well, that's fucking gross capitalism. Like that's reactive and not proactive. That's the exact opposite of what you should be doing as a business, right? Now, mind you, PlayStation are being very reactive and like they're playing too safe, you know, and like it's the whole theory is unless it can't be turned into a TV series or a movie or something, or it can't be transmedia, then it's not worth investing any money in. And we're seeing that with like Horizons getting bled, you know, and the couple of studios that had cool ideas that were cited, like they were out of the difference, like you like your Pixel Opus, Gonskis, and their pivot towards this, you know, games as a service, like it, you know, is going to be dangerous as well. But even then, like there was part of it they talked about in the, you know, the fiscal side of things, like the revenue at which Call of Duty of Activision brings in was more than PlayStation makes, period. Right? Like one publisher makes more than an entire fucking platform. That is ridiculous. And they want to throw that into Microsoft. Like it's just, as I said, for me, the longest issue has always been the precedent, right? Because there is no other deal in games that will ever be as much as this. So any other deal that happens after this, they can go, and someone goes, oh, we probably shouldn't do that. They'll go, but that deal went through. And they can't fault it. Like they could get specific about it, but then again, we're seeing right now that like when it gets thrown into a court of law, you know, like everyone just fucking fumbles, and everyone looks like a dickhead because once again they're all trying to like argue that they're not doing the same gross capitalistic practices that the other side's doing. And it's bad. It's fucking poo. And like yeah, for me, that's my problem with it. Like if once again, if we were standing here right now and we were having a discussion around PlayStation wanting to buy Activision, I'd be saying the exact same thing. At least I'd like to think I would be. Because it's one of those things. It's like, why?
That was one of the other things that came out during the court hearings was, I can't remember who was saying it. It was someone on Microsoft's side. But apparently Bobby Kotick, to put after Xbox originally lost the deal that they had with Call of Duty, apparently Bobby Kotick wanted a greater share to put it on an Xbox console.
Yeah, which tells you like this is one of those things where it's like if you want to look at the ZeniMax side, the Bethesda ZeniMax side of things, right? If they were so willing to go do a deal over there, like, hey, we're happy to put our games exclusively over there, that shows you how far in third place they are. Like, we're like, if we don't go over there, we're at no major disadvantage. But like then Microsoft came with their big swinging dick of cash, and they're like, well, we can't, once again, when you're a sort of publicly traded company, you can't say no to these deals because they go into the hands of the shareholders, and if the shareholders go, we are in this for the money because it is an industry, it's a business, they have to say yes, and that's the position that they're in, even though it's like, even like, once again, because like the fact that like Starfield, which is now a staple for Microsoft, there was a discussion about it not coming there at all. I remember that being a conversation, by the way. I remember at some point going, that's just like, Starfield was in talks of being an exclusive as well. But once again, if we want to talk about the Indiana Jones thing, right? Like from what we also learned from these proceedings, what isn't exclusive outside of Microsoft's first party studios is up to the whimsy of Phil Spencer. Like Indiana Jones, if he wanted it to, he could go, make it cross-platform. But he's chosen not to. And I think that once again, if we want to talk about precedent, that's the precedent. Like we talked about it before. Like, these, when he talked out one side of his mouth and said, hey, we're all about we're not about exclusives. We're all, about the customer first. It's the new way of doing things. And Microsoft and PlayStation did the same thing. We're like, we're the old way of doing things. And the second that either of them got a foot on their throat, they went, we're going to go to the other side. And the second that, Microsoft realized, I think, that Game Pass isn't making as much money as they thought they did, or it's not as viable as a business model as they think it is, especially as they're sitting in fucking third when, they're going, well, we have no choice. We have to go the old ways. We have to go the content exclusivity route. Where Sony are going, holy shit, like the old way of doing things isn't working for us right now. We can't compete. We have to go the new way in a lot of, obviously with your games as a service, etc. But like when it comes to once again, the precedent here is like they said, we're not gonna, like, it's not about making exclusives, right? Proceed to make a bunch of exclusives. So like the negotiator's like, hey, you can say that you're not going to make these things exclusive, and then the second the deal goes through, like, joke's on you, motherfucker, it's all exclusives. And granted, they haven't done that with Minecraft, but like Minecraft's one of the biggest properties that ever fucking existed. It would be insane of them to do so. But Call of Duty is also one of the biggest things that ever existed. And apparently, according to the trials, they're in this weird catch-22 where Microsoft will actually be at a disadvantage if they don't put it on PlayStation, and PlayStation would be at a disadvantage if they take it off. So like, why fucking bother? All of it. Why bother? Let's look at the chat. That's all the chat has to say as I sit here and just fucking yell at you, apparently, Max. Mute Kanasi said, yeah, always feel Xbox is in third place. And it's most definitely a thing. Like, we always think, like, you always think it's a two-horse race, right? It's Microsoft and Sony.
It is. It's a fucking two-horse race. Nintendo have their own ball in their own fucking playground.
Yeah, and they're sitting there eating glue over there and still beating you.
This is how much they don't give a fuck. They're releasing Mario the day of Spider-Man. They don't give a shit about fucking anyone.
Is that Elephant Mario?
Yeah.
That looks so dumb. I want to play it.
They don't give a fuck. Because they know that the only place you can play their games is with them. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They know they're not. They know they're not getting those fucking annual gamers. They're not getting those fucking FIFA or COD or NBA players. They're getting the fucking Nintendo players, and they can do whatever the fuck they want.
See, this is the thing. If Microsoft had even a smidge of the legacy that Nintendo has, like, because Nintendo can release like a game every 2 years, every 3 years, everyone goes, I want the fucking game, and it'll sell millions of copies because they have earned that. Because when you think about a Nintendo first-party game, you go, it's going to be fucking rad. And 9 times out of 10, they hit it out of the park.
Yeah, I'm super not sure about this fucking Elephant Mario game.
Why not? Like, they're running out of shit to do. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things. It's a circumstance of, if Microsoft had, if we could trust in their ability to release competent games, then this wouldn't be an issue. But it totally is. Let's see. While there is no there is no next generation Minecraft. No, there isn't. There's no PS5 Minecraft, and as far as I'm aware, there's no Series X version. There's an enhanced version. That's it. Let's see what else we got. The Mullet Show, still waiting on Killer Instinct from Rare. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry, my friend. Not going to happen. Halo, fucking old though. Halo, once again, Halo is known for being on Microsoft. However, and Xbox, Bungie was working on it like it was going to everywhere, and they bought the exclusive rights. They bought Bungie.
But pretty sure it was originally going to be a fucking Apple game.
Correct. It was dropping on Mac.
Yeah.
Like, that's absolutely true. There you go. Once again, all we're seeing is the continued, the repetition of that behavior. And I'm sorry, that is not the right behavior. It is capitalism at its worst, though. Let's see. Had a talk today asking a friend if will Xbox ever come back to number one. The answer is no. No. Not in the next 5 years, 10 years maybe. There's a lot of gap they have to fill. Do you think they could ever get back to the number one?
It would take a lot. Yeah. It would take a PlayStation 3 sized fuck up.
Yes. Yeah. PlayStation right now are they're not I hate the idea of the arrogant Sony, but in a lot of ways they kind of are. They're choosing to stay quiet. They're choosing to hold the cards close to their chest, and they're still coming out strong.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something else behind it, and I think this deal, this lawsuit had a lot to do with them keeping things shut up.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's all going to come out in the court documents. A lot of the stuff is going to get redacted and whatnot.
Oh, most definitely.
But I don't think, because there's obviously also the court of public opinion, and if they look bad in the eyes of the public, it's going to be just as bad for them as this deal going through anyway. So, yeah. I have a feeling that there's a lot we're not seeing. Oh, because
most definitely, and it'll all come out, and this will make an incredible book in 10 years. It's gonna be fantastic.
I can't wait for the Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, the Netflix style doco. I know. I'm sure. Well, I'm curious on who they cast as Jim Ryan in 10 years. MGB jumps in and goes, although when the deal happens, I bet that Bethesda brand will be dead as Xbox would have Blizzard brand will be dead as Xbox would have 5 publishing labels afterwards, which is a bit too much. So look, admittedly they have 35 fucking studios right now.
Blizzard's brand's also already dead.
Really, Blizzard doesn't have the what's the word I'm looking for? The cachet, the clout that it once had. It's considered a fucking gross company, right? And this isn't helping. It's a really weird spot. It's so, yeah. Capitalism is weird. Yeah, capitalism is fucking weird. And it's really gross when it wants to be. It's great because capitalism allows us to do this and do all the things that we love. But then when it gets to I think it's what's called that late stage capitalism, where it's fucking gross. Indiana Jones should have been multi-plat with Disney being involved, but seems like Disney didn't give a fuck there. Look, we've learned that
apparently the deal was changed after the purchase of the studio.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, so it's the same kind of concept. I heard this argument. I'm not sure whether it's a good argument, but I did hear it get used with the idea of Spider-Man got shopped to Microsoft and they turned it down. It's one of those things okay, well, they said no, and because of the idea is they don't have Spider-Man. They could have, but they didn't. It's fucking weird.
Then the other thing is, if it was shot, was it shot to them as an Insomniac game, or was the IP offered to them first?
Yeah.
Because if the IP was offered to them first, you could argue that the Spider-Man that they would or could have had is not the Spider-Man that we got.
Yeah. So. Hey, Sean in the chat goes, hey guys, watching while playing FF16. So they got their priorities right? Yeah, you wish you could. Most definitely. That's it. Buddy Watson jumps in. Always a good take from Buddy. I love this. I love that Microsoft's defense against them becoming a monopoly was we wanted to buy the company to create a monopoly. Well, they are buying one game exclusive, so we will buy them all. It's 100%. It feels like, it's almost like that rich kid in school that got slightly mistreated and fucking spied everyone. It's rather than hey, you're not allowed to be on the sports team. I'm sorry, we're max players. You can't come play in the team. So he goes with his dad, and his dad just buys the whole fucking team. You know,
So he missed out on his chocolate milk, so he bought all of the chocolate milk.
he bought all the chocolate milk. That's exactly what it feels like. And it's fucking gross for that reason. It's just some child being, my father will hear about this, says the mullet show. And that's exactly what it feels like. Well, we didn't get Deathloop. My father will hear about this. And that's what happened. Like, we joke, but it's exactly what happened. It's fucking fucked. Mute Kinizaki, I apologize if I'm butchering your name, by the way, but thank you for being super active in the chat. Just saying, no hope for Starfall, blame Cyberpunk 76, No Man's Sky, and my fan favorite Redfall. Look, this is a thing. And everyone has these incredible expectations about what Microsoft can do, right? And what we've seen firsthand, even games that were in active development prior to their purchase, Microsoft still somehow managed to push it. Like, just absolutely fuck it up. Like, it's just bad management. And, like, everyone loves Phil Spencer for some reason. Whatever. He and his team are incapable of monitoring and running this many studios. It is ridiculous. Absolutely insane. I feel like I'm going to keep ranting in circles if we continue. But Max, do you have, as seeing as I'm the one that's like talking the absolute most, is there anything I haven't covered?
About this? Nah, not really. I think you've hit all the points. I've jumped in to keep you on track when needed. You've done well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It turns out having Ritalin before a show, like, it doesn't suppress me, but it keeps me poignant.
Well, let's move on to some sad news.
Oh, but no, let's go PlayStation Plus. So cloud gaming's pointless except this.
Let me just let me this one sentence of sad news, okay? All right. Then you can list off all your games, okay? Replying to because we were talking about Spider-Man before, so
that's a good point.
What's fresh in my mind? Replying to a fan on Twitter, Insomniac Games has announced that there are no plans for a demo of Spider-Man 2.
There wasn't a demo for what?
Hang on. Just shitting in the face of the promise of PlayStation Deluxe, there will be a demo for every game over $60.
Fucking PlayStation, those goddamn liars. Absolute liars. You know what? My father will hear about this.
I guess the technicality was I believe that they had to be up within the first year of launch. Like, it'll eventually come.
You just I completely forgot about that, and you just went, "Buh!" Just kneecapped him.
I think the little asterisk was it had to be within a year of the game release. So technically, I think.
But there's no fucking Spider-Man. There's no demo for the first one. Was there a demo for Ragnarok? Oh, there's a game trial. Game trial. Yeah, okay, technically. Well, this is their out, I guess. They can throw it in a game trial.
Yeah. After the launch.
Yeah, way after launch.
Way after.
All right, let's get into the games that are coming out for PlayStation Plus this month. If you have a PlayStation Plus Extra, you get the following. Far Cry 6, both the PS5 and PS4 version. Dope, by the way. That game's mad. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge on PS5, PS4. Also mad. Rogue Legacy 2, PS5, PS4. Mad. Inscription, PS5, PS4. Now, apparently, I remember you being super keen on this one at some point.
I haven't played it yet.
It's cool. Card gamey basedy one?
Yep.
Yeah, rad. Solstice, PS5. Tacoma, coming to your PS4. Deus Ex Mankind Divided, coming to your PS4. Lonely Mountains Downhill, PS4. Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York? What? That's not a word.
It's pronounced coteries, I'm pretty sure.
Coteries? Oh, that's not a fucking thing. You like Vampire the Masquerade. What the fuck's this game?
I'm pretty sure it's a fucking point-and-click adventure.
Gross.
I had to look at it, so I was going to download it.
I know you like the tabletop vampire, though, don't you?
Yeah.
100 Days Winemaking Simulator. Oh, hello. Whoa. All right. Well, for those who don't know, I've really got a kick in simulating games at the moment. I did see a brew, like a craft brew beer simulator on Keymailer, and I was like, ooh, and it was coming to PC. So I was like, at the time, I was like, but my PC can run that shit. A Hat in Time coming to PS4. Apparently that's a dope little platformer. Kato PS4. Forager PS4. Dodgeball Academia PS4. Redout 2 PS5 PS4. Thief PS4. MX versus ATV Legends PS5 PS4. Oh, this game is like actually legitimately fucking fun, and I played it with the shit out of it with my son. Paw Patrol Mighty Pups Save Adventure Bay, like we still play it to this day. PS5 PS4. It was like his first kind of foray into like open world platforming, because the first one, Paw Patrol on a Roll, was like a side scroller platformer, so it was really good for him to like it's actually a good series for him to learn different stages of gaming. Like On a Roll was 2D side scroller, very cool. Paw Patrol Mighty Pups Save Adventure Bay, open world. The next one, which comes out in like October, is like a straight up open world fucking Paw Patrol game. Like, I'm not quite sure whether it's like an open world RPG, but it is an open world game, and he and I are going to play the fuck out of it. I can't wait. My Friend Peppa Pig PS4. He will not play that because Peppa Pig is shit. DC League of Super Pets, The Adventures of Crypto and Ace. The Talos Principle Deluxe Edition PS4, which has my attention.
I downloaded it and played a little bit.
Is it any good? Because I saw that obviously with the trailer of Talos Principle 2 in the showcase. I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. And Elix 2, PS5, PS4. And if you have Deluxe, I don't know why you still do, because it's fucking disappointing. Killzone Liberation, that's the PSP version. Worms, the PS1 version, where like each worm is like 3 pixels tall. That'd be fun. And Herc's Adventure, PS1. Now, was it you, Max? There's the like Herc's Adventure's fucking tits, and you should play it.
Yeah, I remember playing Herc's Adventure with my cousin like fucking way back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's Herc's Adventure?
It's like a brawler with Hercules and 2 other characters, and you just go and save Greece.
Nice.
you fight shit, you pick up collectibles, you throw houses at people. It's great.
Yeah.
Solid old school bit of a style game. Fantastic. And I should note the PSP version of Killzone Liberation has trophies.
Yay!
All right, quick biddies.
Oh, yeah.
Lance Reddick has been remembered in a Horizon Forbidden West tribute.
Yeah, in the last DLC, they patched in like a nice little digital thing for him, little too lovely.
Metal Gear Solid 4, 5, and Peace Walker have reportedly leaked. Will be reportedly in the Master Collection Volume 2.
This is dope because the first time
it'll be the only way to play Metal Gear Solid 4 not on a PS3.
Dude, that's amazing. Like, I just want to know how they've got it. Like, because obviously it was built PS3, cell architecture, all that nonsense. Like, I want to know how they were able to like get it off and make it work. Because like it kind of ran a little bit like ass on the PS3, and like even then, you had to like load. And like I remember there being like, "Hey, you've played like the first act. Now can you wait 20 minutes while we reinstall it? Install the next act." And like old Snake's gonna fucking puff on a cigarette like this entire time. I'm gonna give you a bunch of like quick tips, like, "Hey, you should take a break every 15 minutes." I'm like, no, that's weird.
Call of Duty Warzone 1 is shutting down on the 21st of September this year.
Oh.
Not the new Warzone 2,
oh.
the OG. LA Tourism Department has listed E3 as cancelled in 2024 and 2025.
Good.
EA Games to become EA Entertainment in a corporate reshuffle.
All right.
The Immortals of Avium has been delayed until August, despite being shown in every single fucking showcase.
We have been like inundated with this game. Now, mind you, like we saw a preview event. It looked fucking cool. Still keen to play it. Still keen. I'll wait till August. But like apparently it's waiting for like the PC versions a bit shonk.
Yeah, apparently it's hot garbage. in classic 2023 PC, it's just not doing well.
Yeah, it's not good.
And Kojima has taken to Twitter to clarify his role in the Death Stranding movie.
Oh, yeah!
He will be producing, supervising, plotting, designing, and looking over content, but will not be in charge of directing the film itself.
Which is an interesting choice, because he's essentially made movies but games his entire career. So it's weird that he didn't like want to do it, but that's fine.
It's because he's too busy making Death Stranding 2.
Oh, yeah. get excited.
He's trying to work out how to get Norman Reedus' wang on screen this time.
Oh, I hope I get some like
without like a big monster energy.
As long as we get some Norman Weenus, then I'm totally in. Will Chris Pratt be in it? Probably. Him or Tom Holland. This is it. Tom Holland playing Norman Reedus' wang. No. Chris Pratt playing fucking Porter Bridges. Tom Holland as the baby. Done. Or Pete Davidson. Everyone loves fucking Pete Davidson right now. Put him as the baby. I don't know. That's also a horrible choice. All right, so look, we talk about games that are coming down the line, like, Mortals of Avium delayed till August. That's poo. But here are the games that are coming out this week. There's only 4 on the list. 2 of them are the most bets and ass games ever. I can't wait to talk about them. Number 1, Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, coming to PS5 on June 27th. Remake of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life on PS2. Check that out when it drops. AW Fight Forever Wrestling comes to PS5 and your PS4s on June 29th. It's essentially like an homage to WCW No Mercy on the Nintendo 64. Like, I'm super keen to play it. I can't wait. Front Mission First remake, PS5 4, June 30th. Glad it got a remake because I didn't remember the fucking first one. Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective, PS4, June 30th. There you go. But as I mentioned, I got some Let's Plays coming at the end of the week, so just saying. Just saying, Max. There's Let's Plays coming.
Nice.
Let's Plays coming.
I'm stoked that you're doing those again.
Well, I just hope they work. Like, because the reason I stopped doing them was because they'd get like 6 views. And I'm like, ugh. But like, hopefully, like, they're interesting into something and they're fun. Because like, whether I live stream again, I don't know. Whether just do some Let's Play stuff. But like, I don't know. Look, I'm kind of want to take advantage of like not hating this room. Like, I think the biggest problem that I had of the live streaming previously is I hated being I have such a weird trauma response, but just being in a studio all the time. Like when I used to be like at my old place, and like obviously all the things that happened with that. So like, I think I'm kind of over that hurdle, and I'm like, I like being in this space again, and doesn't have that like response in here. And it's kind of fun, but also in the same idea, like, well, what am I looking for from gaming and streaming and making Let's Plays that I wanted, that I didn't have?
The answer is a $100 million deal with Kick, obviously.
Yeah, look, Amaranth is there now. I've got a camera that's up high. I can get my good booby shots going on. There's probably enough room for a small hot tub in here. I'll make some money on Kick. I don't have no Pokemon level of like, what would I go over there? I'll take some sweet cash. It'll be funsies. That's MGB jumps in, praying that I get a code from PlayOn on launch day. I mean, I've hounded them about. Oh yeah, most definitely. Like, I've harassed the fuck out of PlayOn, like, because me being the big old wrestling fan that I am, I have been up in their business like since at least pre-PAX, because I remember one of the things I was working in, one of the wrestling promotions that I work with, we were trying to find ways to get AEW in, like, or some individuals over here to do something for PAX. And a big part of my role was to like help, schmooze them when they came here. That'd been pretty cool. But yeah, I'm super keen for AEW, obviously, and Forbidden Door tomorrow, which should be fun. AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay is gonna be fucking shit hot. Oh, if there's anything like the one from Wrestle Kingdom, it's gonna be so good, so good. What the heck is Kick? Asked Mute. It's a Twitch streaming competitor where there's like the Wild West of streaming, apparently.
Apparently they're just gonna fucking pay you a wage to stream.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Hey, wrestling is great. Yeah, dude, wrestling's fantastic. I fucking love wrestling. As I said, actually, we'll end the episode and then I'll fucking bullshit for a minute. All right, Max, do your thing.
I'm already done.
Yeah, but you haven't done the
I'm playing Final Fantasy.
Oh, really?
No.
We're chatting wrestling, so you're just like playing games.
Yeah, I zoned out when you started talking about fucking AEW shit. I'm
That's
just
fine.
like, no. All right, everyone. Center myself again. This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, all of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/PopCulturists, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening to podcast service, if you're listening on podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players. All right, now I can talk wrestling now.